Hey everybody, Danny here. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be laying a carpet runner on these stairs right behind me. For those of you who may know, I've been renovating a 100-year-old townhouse here in the city. And one of the really cool things we discovered during the demo phase was when we ripped up the disgusting old carpet on the stairs, we found original hardwood. So what I've been doing was sanding, stripping, staining, and sealing the wood to bring it back to the state that it's in right now. And I think it's looking really lovely. But in order to protect all that hard work that I just did, it makes a lot of sense to lay a runner. So I'm gonna walk you through that process. The other thing that is sort of interesting and I'm sort of excited about is we have a dog named George that you've maybe seen in some of the videos. He's a senior dog. He's about 13 and a half years old. And while he's still very puppy-like, the one thing that he really has a problem with are the stairs. When he runs up them, it's sort of slippy and his legs aren't as strong as they used to be. So laying a carpet runner is actually a great way to ensure that you're not gonna slip down the stairs, but also your pets who might need a little extra help have some traction and leverage. So let's get started and follow me along. And here's a quick overview of what you're gonna need. Once we take our measurements, you're gonna have your carpet padding. The one I've chosen has some rubber traction on the back. You're gonna need carpet tape. You're gonna need a mallet and a carpet chisel, a box cutter, and either an electric or a manual staple gun. To order the right amount of carpet, you're gonna wanna take measurements. And the way to do this is take your tape measure and measure the tread, but also the nose of each step. And so for me, that's 11. The other thing you're gonna do is take a measurement of the rise. And for me, that is 7. Using those measurements, you're gonna multiply the number of steps by the number you just got, and the number of rises by how many you have. The next step is centering. First, with your tape measure, you'll measure the entire width of the stair. For me, this is 32 inches. Next, you're going to take a measurement of the width of your carpet runner, which for me is 22 inches. Subtracting these numbers, I get 10 inches, which is the difference between the stair and the rug. Dividing that number by 2 gives you the distance on each side of the carpet. To place tape without needing to measure every single time, I've created a paper template that I can use to know where to lay the tape. For me, the tape is 2 inches, which leaves 3 inches for the paper spacers. The tape we're using is low tack, which means that the underside adhesive is gentle and won't damage the urethane floors underneath. With these spacers as a handy guide, I'm now marking the top and bottom risers of each step. With everything measured and taped off, you can start to see where the rug will lay and gives you sort of a preview of how it might look. Next up is underlay. This will increase the comfort underfoot, reduce noise, and for some, serves as a moisture barrier. The depth of the underlay is the depth of the tread, plus 3 more inches. The width of the pad is 2 inches narrower than the width of the runner. Measure, mark, and cut the underlay accordingly. Then, cut off the corners at 45-degree angles. Grabbing your staple gun and pack of staples, you'll fix them in place. Center each pad between the taped lines and staple along the back before coming to the front. Smooth the pad over the nose of the tread and pulling tight, staple it secure on the underside. Next, we'll lay the runner, starting with the carpet tape. Cut a strip of this double-sided tape slightly shorter than the width of the runner. Press the tape along the top edge of the stair riser. Then line up the edge of the runner with the tape and press firmly. You can then staple it secure to the top of the riser. If your runner is low plush or thin like mine is, you can always touch up the staples with some color-matched acrylic paint. But if your rug is more woven or plush, you can likely skip this step. Next, grab your bolster and rubber mallet. Start by just shoving the bolster into the corner's edge to encourage a crease and ensure that the runner is in place. Next, use the bolster to score an even fold. Then, whack it with the mallet into the back of the tread so it's nice and tightly in place. Once it sits right, take your staple gun and fire off a staple every few inches along the back edge. Continuing to the next stair, wrap the nose and using the bolster chisel, score the rug underneath. Secure the underside with staples every few inches, being sure that these are on the bottom side as to not be visible from view. As the runner extends down the next rise, be sure to again use the double-sided tape. Once it looks good, again use the bolster to nudge the runner in place, and score the edge for a nice crease. You can give it a whack or two with the mallet to get that crease even crisper. And then staple it in place along the back every few inches. If a staple or two is sticking up, you can always just use a standard hammer to set them in deeper. Going bottom up now, you can grab your final runner and work from the bottom stair. Applying double-sided carpet tape to the runner, center and move the runner in place. To give your final step the perfect finish, tuck the underside into the rug just an inch to hide the cut seam. Once placement looks good, staple every few inches under the nosing. Then, meet the two runners, hiding the joints at the top or bottom of a riser, and bolster over the joint to hide the seam and any loose edges. And there you have it, from bare treads to a finished custom look. There's just something about a fresh runner that really makes a house feel like a home. And it's amazing how just a bit of prep and some careful stapling can completely transform the entrance of a home. It was a bit of work on a lazy weekend, but seeing the final result makes every staple worth it. Don't forget to check the description for a list of the tools and supplies used. And if you have any questions about the process, feel free to drop them in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, give me a subscribe or a like, and I'll see you on the next project. Until next time, thanks for being here.